right, so here is an ideal home setup to become more active at home and to help a loved one be more active at home as well. So a couple of good places that we recommend that you do these exercises would be either from the bedside, lying down on the bed, or in a chair, preferably with arms. So hopefully these are all things that you have around the house, and I wanted to quickly go through some of these tools that we suggest that are going to help elicit better movement while at home. So on the bedside, we have a wedge here, which just helps support the lower back if hip range of motion and low back pain is a bit of an issue, and getting up from a low surface is an issue in core strength. This is a great thing to have. If you don't have a wedge, you can pile up 3-4 pillows back behind you. It's going to effectively work in a similar fashion. But this can help just place, if you're sitting at the edge of the bed, place it behind the person's back. The tighter towards your hips that wedge is placed, the more support and the higher up it's going to give you that support. And you can do things like sit-ups from here, right? If core strength is something where you're working on sit-ups, or hip mobility, lying back and stretching out, those hip flexors are great tools that you can use that wedge for. Aside from that, a dowel. This is a PVC pipe that I have here. That's ideal. A wooden dowel works effectively the same. I know a lot of stores are closed right now and none of us want to get out, so even a broomstick is going to be very helpful. And if you're doing any, this serves multiple purposes, but if you're doing anything where you're placing that stick out in front of you, make sure if it's a broom that the handle, the top handle of the broom is the object on the floor, not the broom itself. So when you go to do any standing and balancing exercises, that's a little bit more sturdy and solid for you to be utilizing. But other than that, you can use this for range of motion exercises. One arm tends to be a little bit tighter than the other. One side tends to function a little bit better than the other. And using a fixed stick such as this will help with eliciting more range of motion and allowing the person to utilize both sides of the body, hopefully evenly, as you're looking to gain more range of motion with a given exercise. Similarly, you can use a band or like a belt, like I have here. You can either double it up. This forces someone to utilize their own strength to maintain tension on that strap. So it's a good way to help be more aware or draw awareness to creating tension and strengthening the muscles. But sometimes, if it's loose, it's not going to give you the same benefit that the dowel would be. So just another tool that you can use there. Dumbbells. If you don't have these laying around the house, some people do, but if you don't, you can use soup cans, just anything to add resistance really for any kind of postural strengthening, lateral raises out to the side or reaching down to the floor and up overhead, things of that nature you can use some added weight for. And lastly would be a TheraBand. Okay, you can use any color. It all depends on the strength of the individual that you're working with. But a couple tips on these: we've tied a couple knots on the end of each end of the band here, which gives you something to hold on to, right? Gives them something to pinch with their fingers, or prevents that hand from kind of sliding out like that. If there's a big knot on the end of it, that's just going to help with grip strength. Or you can kind of tie 2 loops at the end of each one. So, one last thing with the chair. If there's a chair and you want to do any standing and balancing exercises from the bedside, the nice thing about doing that is if you were to lose your balance going backward, you have a bed to sit down on, so it's going to be a lot safer. But when you're standing as well, that chair gives you a nice firm surface to kind of hold on to and stand up with, to work on balance and stepping exercises, so on and so forth. So that's a quick home setup that we recommend, and some different tools that we use with all of our clients virtually that hopefully will help you as well. Thanks.